for camera.
At pcmupdate.
We are in a public house. I'm not quite sure. I've seen this pub probably 3 or 4 times in the last 15 years. I've never been into it. It's one of those places that you walk past and you think, I wonder what goes on in there. And because I've got CJ on me today, I feel a bit more brave to come in and have a drink. And I know, it came around really quickly.
So what were we?
We are in the Jules micro brewery pub, I think. That's what it's called. Jules Independent Micro. Down next to Army Navy stores in Burton.
Yeah, it did have a specific name. I just wanted to.
Yeah. No, it did have a specific name. I had it
It's
online.
got this fab little snug, it's a real traditional pub, really nice.
It's my nice little pizza. So I've got a few little things that we wanted to talk about. 2015, so we should finish off 2014 really. We kind of moved from Nottingham to Derby, exploring co-working spaces, looking for a different office, looking to save some money. Found some gigabit, had a bit of an awkward time again in Derby, I guess.
There's a lot of it in here for money going on, and a lot of it is to inspire and implement grassroots stuff.
Sorry.
Yes.
Yes, just in case it's
Just in case,
quiet.
yes. And that's very attractive, that money, and I think cities are attracted to it, but it does mean that some people who already established small businesses don't necessarily always want to be big businesses. And I think we've been caught in that trap of being brought in as experienced small businesses and expecting to ignite and grow, and they'll be able to watch us and share the story, but that's never going to happen with us. And therefore we kind of matured to a point where we're not tick box material anymore.
No, I don't think I ever
people
was.
realise that, they kind of.
I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that this whole idea of super connected cities is the answer. I think we do need faster internet in cities. I think businesses, small businesses, medium-sized businesses do need faster internet because everybody's screaming out for it because they want to do business faster. But I'm a bit confused as that we went from sort of 20 megabit to 1,000 megabit without 100 megabit.
Amazing.
I mean, the connectivity. I mean, I would definitely have, in one of the 5 spaces in Derby, I would have a co-working spot just for the connectivity. But I think they need to sell it as business space, not as co-working space, because it's not a co-working space.
Yeah.
It's just not. I mean, I've been to co-working spaces. Co-working to me is there's teams in there that are sharing best practice, that are sharing what they're doing in their business, actually getting you to be a beta tester or
It's the
whatever.
hub culture mentality.
There is no hub culture.
I mean, when we went
Not
to
in Derby.
the Google
Campus.
the Google campus,
Yeah.
there's the cafe, and you got the sense that people would get there early. There were certain desks. If you got there, you'd get a good desk to work privately.
And they run events.
And other places, people just sat round collectively and discussing stuff. And
They have pitch events as well.
yeah.
So it's very much a pitch space. They've got a space upstairs where they go pitch. Anyway, so that was the end of 2014. 2015 is kind of like clear the decks. I mean, we have had some feedback indirectly from people, which I found very interesting in terms of how they see us as a unit and how they see me specifically as this kind of disruptive
Which is
force.
quite reinforcing, really, because people don't tend to think
No, I mean, to me, it's not like. I think the issue for me is that, you know, a lot of this stuff, a lot of this social stuff and storytelling stuff in terms of businesses, it's not just a provisional service that we give. You don't just pay us money, we give you something back. It's a journey that we take collectively together. So like the Audiences Europe thing, which I'm going to mention on here, 13 years, you know, that's a journey that you've taken with Rich Hadley, and you've pulled off an event with Reykjavik, and there's more of that in 2015.
And that's, you know, if there's one thing that you can take away from everything, I think that's what we've been looking at. What are the things that we want to take forward into the future?
Yeah.
you know, audience Europe for me is and the audience engagement and audience production and so and then your Christmas pub.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
I was just thinking as you were talking. Did you see the thing about 2015 was Back to the Future 2, where they went to the
Oh, that's
future
actually
with
where they
with
were.
a hoverboard and stuff.
Where's
like
my hoverboard?
Yeah, where's mine? Yeah, pods. So because of 2014, because of Nottingham, because of Derby, I've started to reevaluate. Well, I do want to work in a co-working space with people of similar ilk in terms of creatives. I'm not talking about business people. I'm talking about people that really make me spark in terms of their imagination. Those are the people I want to be around, and I believe, I've seen it firsthand, that we are going through a massive digital revolution in terms of access, that if you are a creative and you have a product, you can, without a middleman, sell it. So like, I've been thinking, okay, what do I enjoy to do? I enjoy co-working, I enjoy teaching people about social tools, and I also want to teach my daughter how to use technology. So why not have that in a pod and have it all collected together? And then, so then at the start of the year, because I've now moved up to the farm full time, I had a chat with the farmer, and the farmer said, "What would you do with one of these pods?" And I was like, "Are you kidding me? What would I do with these pods?" I turned it into the best coffee space in the Midlands. I will make sure that you can take card payments, because most places in the countryside don't have card payments. I would do the Coda Dojo at weekends for kids. I would do adult training at night. I'd run it from 7 until 7 at night, and I would have 3 slots for co-working and a laser cutter, because that is the things that I've really enjoyed in the last year. So I just thought, why do I need to feel that I've done something wrong or explain myself? Because nobody's having a two-way dialogue with me. Nobody's coming to me and saying, "Phil, you've got a problem with this, or you're this, or you're this." They just say it behind the scenes. So I've removed all the stress and gone, okay, if I had my own space, how would I run it as a profitable business, and what things are profitable? So that's where I'm at with it.
So 2014 to 15, I think the end of 2014 was one. I know it's on our list. The fact that they emailed, I keep telling everybody about this. They emailed a spanner to the International Space Station.
You've got to describe what you mean here, because it sounds weird.
They then used a file that was emailed to them to feed into a 3D printer, which then printed them a spanner, which they then used to do a repair on the space station.
That's pretty awesome, isn't it? Really. I mean, you know, if you look at something like Apollo 13, they literally had a radio, and they could say, "Do this, do this, do this,"
Yeah.
and that will save you so many amps.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, we need to do this, but I don't have a spanner. Don't worry, I'll email you one. I mean, that's next level shit, isn't it? Really?
But
the fact they've got a 3D printer on the spaceship, on the space station,
that uses material that is applicable to be used.
Anti-gravity and all that stuff.
You know, whatever. I'm interested to know what material it was that printed, but just the fact that
it must have its own vacuum, because you couldn't just play. I don't know how you would print it in zero gravity, because it just float away.
I know.
So they must have some kind of like vacuum 3D printer that has its own.
Unless it's one of the resin ones that cuts away at it.
Okay, could be a cutaway
could
thing.
be a different type. I don't know which one's it.
I've seen one recently, which is pretty amazing. That actually is whatever your object is. You have this thing that spins round and sprays on the material, and builds it up that way. Instead of it just building it up that way, or the one that cuts away, it actually spins round and makes it up.
Builds it.
Pretty crazy. Yeah, so the reason why we're here in the pub today and doing our little show from here today, you know, CJ's not been very well, Dan's not very well. You sold your house after 15 years, you moved away and everything else, and I had to sort of move out because I was squatting.
I know.
Effectively. So
Kind
we're
of
celebrating.
nomadic at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah, I kind of like it. I've always liked that. But we're celebrating birthdays.
Birthdays.
So like,
Second week in January is birthday week.
yeah, January's a bit birthdays really. But like, instead of like just sending cards and getting in touch and emails, stuff, we said, let's go and have an afternoon, not too heavy, get up a few beers and just enjoy it for our dual birthdays.
Hot chocolate and rum.
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, let's talk about what we're doing in 2015, or at least let's talk about what we're doing next couple of months. So there's two things that are really in my mind. There's the event that we're going to next week, if you want to describe that.
Yeah, we're going to Devoted and Disgruntled 10.
Okay.
This is the 10th iteration in London.
Is that 10 years? Or?
Yeah, yeah. So,
What is it?
Devoted Disgruntled is a group of theatre practitioners, Improbable Theatre. Artistic director is Philip Wilmot, I believe.
Improbable theatre.
Improbable Theatre.
Okay, so it's not actually theatre.
Yes, they are a theatre company, and they are a small-scale independent theatre company. So all of the equity stuff that I do, independent, small-scale, grassroots, innovative, new writing, all of these companies tend to be of that ilk. And a lot of the practitioners come together. So London Bubble, a lot of the London Fringe artistic directors and practitioners. You'll have people like Fran Rifkin, Utopia Arts, so theatre that's working in medical practice, and they come together and they have an open space. And open space is, you can pose a question, that question gets entered onto the time scale, people then go off into the spaces and talk about those projects, come back, they get written up. And it was last year's D&D that sparked Fun Palaces.
Right.
So that's where Fun Palaces originated.
Okay, I just thought it was something that she'd always wanted to do, so it actually came out of that. A celebration came out of that for Joan Littlewood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it was, what would Joan Littlewood do? And that was one of the questions. But the thing I like about Devoted and Disgruntled, apart from it being a great name, which is what it is for artists, we're devoted, but we're really disgruntled by the way the world treats us, is exactly that. And if you think of the type of people that you think might be there, if you think you're one of them, come along. If you don't like those people,
definitely.
So that's next weekend, so we've got 2 days down there. We're going to meet up with Fran and Graham from Artistic Arts.
Right.
Utopia Arts to talk about the progression of their website.
Right.
Staying in that, didn't it?
Yeah, I like it. So I mean, my life has changed a little bit differently with the whole sort of working thing, but I'm slowly getting transformed into a different human being. I'm losing weight and things are happening, which is kind of weird. I've gone back to my roots. I've literally got frustrated with everything to do with co-working and business and all that stuff. So I literally looked at it over Christmas and went, what do I want to do? And I thought, I want to get back to what I did originally that got me on to using Twitter, and that was vlogging. So I've gone back to doing video blogging, and I'm trying to do it daily with my little GoPro. I've got a mount for it. I'm having a few problems with battery and audio. I want to get a mic for it. I get a mic for this for like £7 that plugs into the side of it. I'm going to do that next. But originally I really thought if I start video blogging again, then I can use the revenue from the YouTube channel. But that's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a year. But I've been watching great homes like Nomadic Fanatic and there's another guy. I've seen a lot of people actually who've got really good jobs who are just up sticking and buying an RV, $100,000 RV and just travelling. So I feel very much like 2015 is about survival. And I'm not talking about survival in terms of having a job and money to bring income in to provide a lifestyle. I'm talking about survival in general. I don't know if you're like me, but like I read a lot of news. I read a lot of using Flipboard and a lot of stuff
as well, not just mainstream.
Sure. I like to use different sources of variety. And I don't know if we're hearing more stuff, but like the bloody world seems a lot more delicate than it did a couple of years ago for me. You know, there's a lot of stuff happening. You know, the first time ever in the history of the world that we hit 400 parts per million in January the 1st in terms of CO2 in the atmosphere. And I'm not a scientist and I don't know all the caveats and if it's going to rebalance itself out with different things happening in different countries, but I do know that, you know, we can't just be consumption. There's got to be a business model in efficiency and optimisation. I love it.
You can't tell people to do this stuff because it just ends up being nanny state. So I think as many people as can just do it. Leave the rest of them behind. I think you've gotten to a point now where a lot of the, you know, the eco-conscious, you know, the ethics, leaving people behind is not necessarily an unethical thing to do. If those people don't want to join you, you can't make them. So, you know, I think there's a lot of that sense of they just see this need to actually survive.
But I think that's been my problem though in terms of, you know, business stuff, is that when I've had these conversations about how do I use social to talk about what I do, when I get to the grassroots of it with people, actually what they do is they want to earn money from their knowledge and charge what they want to charge for it, because people don't have that knowledge. knowledge, people don't know how much that knowledge costs. And then it comes down to a lifestyle thing, and that's why I've clashed with so many people. So I've got to the point now where I've gone, all right, what did I originally love to do? I love to storytell, love to make video, and I love to laser cut, and I love to do that. So that's why
the stuff we do end up doing that makes us at odds with ourselves tends to be the things we don't enjoy anyway.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah. The other thing, I'm going over to see Lucy Lockett again next week.
Okay.
Because just before the end of last year, Paul Edwitt and Lucy Lockett approached me and said they had loads of stock that they would normally put on sale. And rather than putting it on sale, they wanted to put it into 50 dress-up boxes and give it away for free to children's hospices around the UK.
That's awesome.
So my job was to scour the internet to find out where these charities were. So I ended up finding 50 and looking at how we could engage them, what social presence they had, what ins there were to how they were already using a social, and whether the art of self-promotion without getting caught kind of thing.
Yeah.
Could we get them a box but also ask them to do a tweet, or we didn't want them to favourite anything. It was just about sharing a picture.
It's a very delicate subject, isn't it?
It is.
It's a very delicate subject in terms of we want people to know about what we're trying to do.
Yes.
Like we're talking about kids who have a certain amount of length of life left, and then we're talking about giving them some kind of level of entertainment, in their days that they've got left, and asking people to get behind it, and if they don't know about Lucy Lockett, it's delicate.
Yeah, and it's a difficult one for business as well, because at the end of the day, Lucy Lockett is business.
Right.
So
They have to sell
they
products.
do have an ethical and a conscience that they want to be able to give back and share. And they're going to give these boxes away. That was the thing.
Right.
So it was like, how can
it be a group thing?
Well, what we got out of it really was just the reconnaissance value of looking at 50 charities, which is how they ended up coming across, what their web profiles were, where they were on Google+, and I was also able to find most of their artists and directors, their CEOs on LinkedIn.
Cool.
So if we'd had the momentum and we'd had the time of the campaign, because this was a 2-week thing,
Yeah, 2 weeks.
we could have actually done some really interesting outreach.
6 weeks maybe.
So going back to them this week, they were really happy with how that's gone, and they're looking at doing some podcasts. So a little bit like Eileen Parr's gatherings.
Writing stuff, yeah.
But they want to get together with Paul Edwitt wants to get together with dads,
Yeah.
all different backgrounds, and just talk about being digital dad in this age,
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff. And Lucy is their media manager and Paul's daughter. Is interested in talking about the notion of children and play within the modern age.
What that looks like
Yeah,
in terms of
and having
removing
some
technology.
interview. No, not necessarily removing technology, just what is the
influence
value
of it.
of play, because at the core of everything that Lucy Lockett does is how do children's imaginations get sparked.
That's cool. I think that's a good foundation.
So yeah,
I
interesting.
think there's things happening into the.
It is, but again, it's always how can we actually bring the revenue stream in. We don't want to talk about it.
No, I think it's the ultimate
That's
creative
the
dilemma. It's kind of like how do you prove to a remote audience that you're on top of your drinking habit? Like the thing is, like if you're doing video in a pub, right? People are looking at you thinking, well, like how do you balance work with leisure? Like you're getting into really delicate territory there.
It is.
Is that because people then go, well, I'm an upstanding citizen, I work 8 hours a day and I go for a drink at the end of the week, you should have a drink. There's all kinds of different layers there.
We've been to several hostelries today. The first one, we've been to the Dial,
Yeah.
and there was the bar manager or the owner that you met, and we talked to them about their social now, how it's been, and that's how we get in touch with the people who are actually at the core of their social presence.
Yeah, that's true.
And his wife had been looking online and saw that he tweeted,
Saw the tweet.
and had already reported back to him that someone's obviously having a good experience.
And that is kind of like, that reinforces my thoughts on the space, in terms of they're on it enough for her to be looking at that. She's getting an update and then ringing her husband and saying, "You just had a really good tweet." You know, and so that feedback loop is kind of what I expect businesses to have.
And if that reinforces the value to them of social media by just having us as practitioners going in and chatting to them and then moving on, that will help them develop their own social presence. It costs us nothing.
Yeah, I don't think people understand the whole idea of the whole pass-through thing as well.
Yeah.
I don't think people understand that, although that was real time today and you might not have been around to witness it.
Yeah.
Somebody comes into Burton and does a Foursquare lookup or whatever, or tweets or anything like that, or vines for that venue, they'll see my vine.
Yeah.
And I don't think people realise that that vine is there for the duration. And so it's kind of like if you come in like in a month's time and you have really good food, and then you see a vine from a month ago, you know that consistently this place is good for food. So like it's that unconscious messaging that people don't recognise. And I think business doesn't get that. I've not really worked out.
Especially when you have digital savvy people starting to come into the high street and starting to be the norm as young people become more aware of what the content is that they're making.
That's us for us really. I mean, there's not much else. We just want to do a PCM update for 2015. We will have another update for for February, because we will be talking about our Kickstarter for the pods. But we'll also report back about developing Disgruntled. And we will speak to you then. So we'll catch up with you in February. See you soon.